It sounds like something out of a fairy tale, a beautiful, remote land with an enlightened king adored by his subjects. A place with tall mountains, lush forests, flowing rivers, and clean air, where happiness is valued above all else. We're describing the tiny kingdom of Bhutan, wedged between China and India in the Himalayan mountains. A place so fiercely protective of its unique Buddhist culture that for a long time it sealed itself off, didn't admit tourists until the 1970s, and didn't introduce television until 1999. A place that charted its own path to development when its king coined the phrase gross national happiness and made maximizing it the nation's top priority. But when a fairy tale kingdom meets the modern world, a storybook ending is far from certain. Sunrise over Bhutan's Doshala Pass. A place so calm, so transcendent, you feel you've landed in another time. Buddhism is the national religion here. We found Bhutanese, especially older men and women, spending hours spinning prayer wheels full of Buddhist scriptures, and prayer flags fluttering on hillsides and in forests, turning nature itself into a shrine. Bhutan's capital city, Thimphu, still has no traffic lights. The old and the new mingle in peaceful coexistence here, even on the nation's roads.
Bhutan's story, in one word, is survival.
Dasho Khinle Dorji ran Bhutan's first newspaper, then served as a government minister.
We were, and still are, a very nervous population between India and China. In the old days, what Bhutan did was we hid in the mountains.
You hid from these two giants.
Yes.
You were afraid they'd
Yes.
gobble you up?
Oh, yes, because we don't have military might or economic force. So Bhutan's strength was going to be our identity, to be different from everyone around us. We wear different clothes, we construct our buildings, traditional architecture and identity based on our culture. That was our strength.
And that culture remains strong. Thousands of Bhutanese gather for seasonal religious festivals with songs in the national language, Dzongkha, and centuries-old dances and costumes. This is not a tourist-focused spectacle, though foreigners are welcome. This is clearly for the Bhutanese, who come dressed in their finest. Tell us about what you are wearing, because this is the traditional dress for a man.
My wife joked and said, it's the men who wear the skirts in this country, showing our knees. This is called the go, and it's colorful because it's all woven here using natural dye.
It's very old-fashioned.
We came to realize that, that what we had in the past, what is old, is actually very valuable.
Goes also double as athletic wear for Bhutan's national sport, archery. They're using traditional bows and arrows made of bamboo, shooting at a target a football field and a half away.
Oh, he just hit. So what you're going to see is the two teams dancing now.
They dance?
And they dance and they sing.
Rabsel Dorji, who once worked at the UN, was a teenager when television came to Bhutan 25 years ago.
I remember fixing the antenna in my house for my mom to watch.
I wonder how rapidly change has come here. It's almost head-spinning.
My father, my late father, when he was growing up in the 60s and 70s, Bhutan was, there was no roads in the country. He had to travel for 2-3 days on horseback to get to school.
Bhutan was, and is today, largely a subsistence agricultural society, where many families still live in multi-generational farmhouses. The country was unified by the man who became its first king in 1907. His sons and grandsons, who Bhutanese referred to as the second, third, fourth, and today fifth kings, have reigned since. But it was the fourth king who, as a young, newly crowned ruler in the 1970s, really set Bhutan on its unique path to modernity.
La República de Cuba.
He was flying home from a summit of non-aligned nations in Cuba and landed at an airport in India since Bhutan still didn't have one.
Indian journalists met him at the airport, and the first question was, Bhutan is our closest neighbor. We know nothing about Bhutan. For example, what's your gross national product? And the king said, actually in Bhutan, gross national happiness is much more important to us than gross national product.
It just came out of his mouth like that.
Huh. So, sexy headline.
Sexy headline that got international attention.
Bhutan is putting before us a framework for a new economic paradigm.
The UN convened a special meeting in 2012 and adopted a resolution urging others to follow Bhutan's lead. So tell me about... And in Bhutan, it became the primary responsibility of government, led today by Prime Minister Sering Tobgay. Explain gross national happiness. What is it?
In the last 300 years, we've been obsessed with growth. Gross national happiness acknowledges that economic growth is important, but that growth must be sustainable. It must be balanced by the preservation of our unique culture. People matter. Our happiness, our well-being matters. Everything should serve that.
So every 5 years, surveyors travel throughout Bhutan measuring the nation's happiness. They ask about education level, salary, material possessions. Do you have negative thoughts? Positive thoughts? How much time do you spend working? Praying, sleeping. The results are analyzed and factored into public policy. But people here don't walk around smiling and laughing all the time. They look to me like people everywhere.
Gross national happiness does not directly equate to happiness in the moment. One happiness is fleeting, it is emotion, it is joy. The other is contentment, to be happy with life, to be happy with oneself. And that's what gross national happiness is all about.
It's also about nature. By law, at least 60% of the country must remain under forest cover. And with most of its energy coming from hydroelectric power, Bhutan was the first and today one of the only countries in the world to be carbon negative. It earns foreign revenue selling excess hydropower to India and from tourism. But there are limits. You have all these gorgeous mountains, but you don't allow mountain climbing.
Yes.
That really surprised me. Why not?
For a Bhutanese, it's very easy to understand. The mountains are sacred.
The mountains are sacred.
Sacred, home of deities. You don't climb all over it because it's sacred. Nature is not something to be conquered. It's something to be respected.
Recycling, separating non-degradable and degradable waste.
School is taught in English, and it's free, as is health care. Major accomplishments in a country still considered a developing nation. Oh, and there's one more thing. That king who introduced gross national happiness, 25 years later, decided that happiness required another big change, the right to elect a parliament and prime minister.
Bhutan is the only country where democracy was introduced in a time of peace and stability, where democracy was literally gifted, imposed on the people, not just gifted, because the people didn't want it.
No one was clamoring for it. It wasn't the French Revolution. There was no revolution. He just decided.
I traveled with the king.
As a reporter, Kinlay Dorji covered the king's travels to villages all over Bhutan.
It was called consultations. And the only consultation I saw was people begging him not to do this.
Oh.
And at
But
first,
people did not want democracy.
Yes. And they're pleading and very articulate arguments on why. Because when they looked around the world, their horizon was India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, democracy, which is really synonymous with violence, with corruption. So they said, no, thank you. We don't really need that. We are fine.
He defied the people and imposed democracy.
You couldn't argue with him. He had arguments like, you leave the small country in the hands of one man who's chosen by birth and not by merit. Small country is finished. One day we'll have a bad king.
And with that, the fourth king abdicated at just 51, passing the crown to his 26-year-old son, the fifth and current king. Bhutanese headed to the polls for the first time ever. The result is hard to wrap a Western head around. A democracy where the king is universally adored. That's him swearing in the prime minister. And the two work together as partners. Quite the happily ever after ending. Except this would-be fairy tale has an unexpected plot twist. Young Bhutanese are leaving the country in record numbers.
This is a very difficult situation for Bhutan.
You called it existential.
It is an existential crisis.
When we come back. So how did Bhutan, a country that prioritizes its people's happiness, find itself with so many of them leaving? Well, it started with COVID, which hit Bhutan's economy hard, shutting down tourism, and recovery has been slow. Many Bhutanese with their excellent English found higher-paying jobs in Australia, even doing menial labor. Word spread on social media, and now a devastating 9% of the country's population has left, most of them young. Bhutan's government has mobilized, with the king launching a bold, high-stakes plan and something of an experiment. Can he create a place where development and wealth can coexist with sacred values?
It's a lot of people with skills who are leaving, right? People in my age group.
Namgay Zam is a journalist.
This is the BBS News with Namgay Zam,
who used to anchor Bhutan's nightly newscast.
All of my friends who are journalists, they're all outside. There's just two of us left in the country. Editors, graphic designers, sound people. Yes, Lesley. Yes.
They've left the country.
They've left the country.
Outside Bhutan's airport, we saw what looked like a sort of picnic, but was actually a goodbye.
The whole family tends to go to the airport.
Often, Rob Seldorji told us, several generations.
We're very close to our families. And so when someone leaves so far away, they don't know when the next meal together in the family will be. There's another vantage point where you can see the plane take off, and so many of the family members will wave them goodbye and see them off. That's a very emotional experience.
So many of your people are leaving. I have to ask you this. Has gross national happiness been a failure?
Gross national happiness has succeeded.
But if people are leaving...
I'm 58 years old. In my generation, Bhutan has transformed from a medieval society, literally with no roads, no clean drinking water, life expectancy in their 40s, very few schools, to what you see today. We have free education, free healthcare, where life expectancy is now crossing 70 years old. Where our economy, while it is still small, has been growing in the last 30 years, it's been growing on average of about 6%. And it's growing without destroying, undermining our culture. So by these measurements, I would say gross national happiness has succeeded. As a matter of fact, perhaps it has succeeded beyond our wildest dreams.
Meaning he believes it's ironically the success of gross national happiness that has made Bhutanese young people sought after abroad.
We have to lure them back. And the only way to lure them back is by good, well-paying jobs.
So he's trying to attract more business and tourists to Bhutan, highlighting landmarks like this centuries-old suspension bridge, part of an ancient 250-mile trail from one end of the country to the other.
Originally, this was our highway.
Now restored to welcome trekking tourists. And near the bridge at twilight, one of the most beautiful buildings we'd ever seen, built in the 1600s. But tourism can only do so much, and Bhutan's king knows it. So while he never gives on-camera interviews, he did grant us a royal audience to share what might be called an enlightened Hail Mary. He's decided to create a new city in southern Bhutan with different rules from the rest of the country, an attempt at a new model of robust economic development, still true to Bhutanese values. He's calling it the Gellifu Mindfulness City. And to design it, he turned to Danish architect Bjarke Ingels.
There's a real reason why you do something out of the ordinary.
Ingels is known for his innovative buildings, like this New York City skyscraper. What's the biggest challenge here?
The big question is, can you create a space for economic activity and the future without sacrificing the values and cultural riches that they have today? You have 34 rivers.
As Ingels showed us in these renderings, the new city will have neighborhoods nested between the area's many rivers, connected by a series of unusual bridges.
We got the idea that the bridges could be like the public buildings.
This is a bridge?
This is the bridge that is also a kind of Buddhist center.
Oh.
This is a healthcare bridge. It actually has healthcare facilities on either side of the road. This is a university bridge.
All built with local materials. This will be the downtown, no skyscrapers. To see the site, we flew about an hour south of the capital, leaving behind those sacred Himalayan peaks for Bhutan's tropical lowlands, and we climbed to a lookout where there wasn't much to see. This is empty right now. You're going to have a whole new city here.
We are looking at a small piece of the city.
Our guide was Dr. Lotay Sering, a former prime minister who the king has tapped to govern the new city. He told us it'll be built in phases over the next 2 decades with no polluting industries allowed.
We have lots of wildlife, very, very rich wildlife. The most prevalent are the elephants.
You have elephants?
Yes.
And sure enough, we spotted this family a few hours later, just off the side of the road. As habitat shrinks elsewhere, more elephants and even tigers are finding a safe haven in Bhutan, and the new city will have wildlife corridors to protect them. The king has said the future of Bhutan hangs on this project. It's huge.
Doing the way we had been doing is not enough anymore. Bhutanese, when we say we follow the principles of gross national happiness, we do not mean we are happy with less. That's what I feel. We are human beings. We also want more. We also want to be rich. We also want to be technologically high standard. We want Bhutanese to be heading multi-million-dollar companies, multinational companies, but following a philosophy of gross national happiness.
How's that supposed to work? Well, this Bhutanese team is collaborating with experts around the world, seeking investors for what's sure to cost in the billions. The city will have its own legal framework modeled on Singapore's and will offer plentiful, clean hydroelectric power they hope will draw technology companies, especially AI.
So imagine this is the upper part of the river.
To capture that hydroelectric power,
and then this is roughly 500 feet.
Ingels has designed a colorful dam that's also something you can walk down.
All of these little diamond shapes are actually stairs, and you get this experience. So here you're standing at the top of the dam looking down, and then you can see like this major roof is the temple.
A temple?
A temple. On the face of the dam, overlooking the river and the valley.
I bet the king loves this. Ingels presented his plans to the king and the king to the nation last December.
On December 17, the National Day of Bhutan, they fill a stadium, a sports stadium. So when you go to that stadium, it looks like a Quidditch match. You know, like And the king basically speaks to his people.
His topic, the Galafu Mindfulness City, and his hopes for the opportunities it'll create to keep Bhutanese in Bhutan. Namgye Zam, meanwhile, had different plans involving Australia. You thought about leaving.
Oh, I didn't just think about leaving, like everything was underway.
But then she went to hear the king that day.
And he did what no king had done before. He asked the people to help him directly. And he said, will you help me? And there was shocked silence. Even for me, I froze and I was like, did he just ask us to help him? And then he said, will you help me a second time? And there was a resounding yes. And I said yes. And then I came home and I told my husband, I said, we can't leave. And he said, why? And he said, I've signed a social contract with His Majesty. Because I said, yes.
You're so sophisticated, you're worldly, and yet your king asked you to help. You were leaving.
And I wasn't the only one. There's like 30,000 people there. And I felt like he asked me.
She's decided to stay. And instead, it was the king and his family who went to Australia just last month to bring his vision to 20,000 Bhutanese who live here now and who he's hoping to one day lure back home.
If we succeed, we can show that you can create a city that does not displace nature, that is anchored and rooted in the local heritage and culture, and that still allows for prosperity and growth to happen. That is a challenge that a lot of places in the world are struggling with.
Culture, tradition, modernity. If this remote fairy tale land can gracefully master that dance, then perhaps they'll have something to offer the rest of us.
The idea that this country has become one big, bland, conformist culture, the United States of Generica, well, if you're in search of a counterpoint, hang out as we did in the marshy interior of southern Louisiana. You need no passport to enter Cajun country, but it's an exotic land like nowhere else, home to a cuisine, a language, a landscape, even a pacing all its own. And then there's the singular sound. Cajun music and its cousin from across the way, Zydeco, resists easy description. But it is intoxicatingly catchy, often sung in French, and as we first reported earlier this year, enjoying a most unlikely renaissance. The sun is out and living is easy on the bayous of Louisiana. The fish are jumping, those are carp, and the cypress trees grow high. On dry land, the music hangs in the humidity. In Eunice, Louisiana, the Savoie family has lived on this patch of land for 8 generations. Music is often a family inheritance down here, and you can think of the Savoies as the Von Trapp clan of Cajun country, Acadiana as it's known. Joel is a Grammy-winning producer and musician, often accompanied by his brother Wilson, also a Grammy winner. Their father Mark, an accordion maker by day, is a prominent musician in his own right, as is their mother Anne, who once recorded with Linda Ronstadt. What defines the Cajun sound?
Typically, Cajun music has Cajun accordion, fiddle, sung in Cajun French. They play two-step and waltzes. It's got a very unique rhythm, a very syncopated rhythm that you don't hear in a lot of other kinds of music. It's the syncopation that drives the music.
And it has a hauntingness about it, the music. And it's just got soul, you know?
These sounds are sourced from the unique blend of people that converged on Cajun country over the centuries.
Music is obviously born out of this swirl of different cultures. The accordion arrived with some part of the population. Fiddle arrived with different part of the population. The syncopation comes from people that we encountered here, the African Americans, the Creoles, the Spanish, things like that. It's also a social music. You know, anytime there's music, there's somebody hanging out, somebody cooking. These things just are part of life. It's always inclusive. Maybe you'll dance a few times, who knows?
As we saw, when the sun sets in Acadiana, the volume turns way up. This music is the soundtrack in dive bars, in nightclubs, in the old French salle de danse, dance halls that stud this landscape. And while it's not topping Billboard charts, the music is experiencing a resurgence as young audiences two-step once again to those accordions, fiddles, and washboards.
You say Louisiana, the first thing that can come out of their mind is, how's New Orleans? I'm like, I don't know. I don't live in New Orleans. I live in Southwest Louisiana.
Totally different sound.
A totally different sound.
Chubby Carrier is a Grammy-winning accordionist from Church Point, Louisiana. He tours with his group, the Bayou Swamp Band. Chubby Zydeco is a relative of Cajun music, born out of the French-speaking Black Creole community.
One time, this couple came and goes, honey, you gotta come see this. That's a black gentleman with an accordion in his hand. I wonder if you play poker, honey.
Oh, polka.
Polka.
Oh, you had a surprise for
Oh,
him.
my goodness. And I seen that, and they came back. And when I seen them sitting there, I said, watch this.
It's time to dance with me tonight, y'all.
I started playing my songs, and she started looking over to her husband and going, wow, this is great. She's just doing this.
She thought she was coming for Lawrence Welk.
Something like that.
Jordan Thibodeau is the frontman of the touring band Les Roudeurs.
It's just the sounds of our community. And I think that just buries into your heart when you're little.
And it's not some hipster, ironic thing.
No.
It's
Most of the people that be at these kind of dances are as far removed from a hipster as you could possibly imagine.
Jordan is Cajun music's equivalent of a rock star. And through his music, he's become something of a global ambassador for Cajun country and its way of life. You have a saying, you say a lot, that's in some of your song lyrics. You want to tell us what it is?
Tu vis ta culture ou tu tues ta culture, il n'y a pas de milieu. It means you either live your culture or you kill your culture. There's no in between.
What do you mean?
You see this vanishing of cultures, of dialects, of everything to just create this one generic human, you know? And it's really sad to me. So I'm gonna get up every day and I'm gonna live my culture today. I think it's every individual's responsibility to maintain who they are as a people.
Time was, Louisiana French could be heard on every street corner, both in Cajun and Creole communities. Jordan learned French from his grandmother. But today, the language is dwindling as the march of Americanization proceeds.
Imagine still being home and saying, oh, I miss home. It's a very hard feeling to convey.
I wonder if the language is diminishing, the Cajun music becomes that much more important as this transmitter of
without
culture.
a doubt. Without a doubt. There are countless kids who are learning the language just from the music.
The Cajun story starts in Nova Scotia, where this French-speaking people led a peaceful life until they didn't. In the middle of the 1700s, the conquering British kicked out the Acadians, shortened to Cajuns. Expelled, they found an improbable home amid the backwaters of French Louisiana, from the craggy North Atlantic to the delta and bayous of the Atchafalaya Basin, the largest swamp in North America. Jordan gave us a tour of the land that shaped his Cajun ancestors. They adapted to survive and then thrive in this new and sometimes hostile environment. Did I hear right? You learned to swim in this water?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
happens.
My mama, they would take the kids, they'd put us some life jacket and throw us out the boat to go swim so they could fish in peace, you know? And she'd make the turn if you'd see an alligator. Mama, they got an alligator. You can see him? Yes, ma'am. Then it's fine. If you can't see him no more, let me know.
The Cajuns didn't come with much, but they did bring their old French melodies.
We sing a lot fishing. When we sit and fish, me and my little girl, my youngest, she likes to sit and sing. So while we're fishing, she sings to the fish to get them to come.
Long as he brought up fish, well, there's an unwritten rule in Cajun country. You can't have the music without the food. Joel Savoie and his family invited us into their kitchen.
We're cooking some shrimp étouffée. Étouffée is a French word that means smothered. So we smothered them.
Where'd you learn? From your folks?
My father, yeah. A lot of people say, what's the recipe? I said, I don't know what the recipe is.
New York, you can go into a Michelin star restaurant and they've got étouffée and gumbo.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
They don't know what they're doing. I proposed a toast to my grandmother who lived in this house, and with her lack of gentility, she would always say, arrête de baduler, assis-toi puis allons parler. Quit your babbling, sit down, and let's stuff ourselves.
Here. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
The music, the food, the drink, the bon temps, the good times, these traditions braid all the communities here, but with slight twists. Chubby Carrier's father and grandfather were sharecroppers who played music at night. He showed us the difference between the blues-heavy Zydeco he grew up with and the more country-infused Cajun sound.
So I took one of my grandfather's songs. Now you see, I did all my Zydeco. That's a Zydeco song. Now watch your waltz. Take it to the Cajun. You hear that? Then now take that same song and then speed it up. It's gonna turn into a Zydeco song. Whoa, all in one, brother.
Though entwined musically for decades, the black Zydeco and the white Cajun scenes couldn't mingle much in the Jim Crow Deep South. We first met Chubby at La Poussière, The Dust, a dance hall in the town of Breaux Bridge. He remembers when black bands and patrons weren't allowed in. I wonder if you thought about what your dad and your grandpa would have been thinking watching you play this venue where they wouldn't have been playing.
I mean, we can't even step in that club. Like, Daddy and my grandfather, I want to say this. They fought the fight for us, man. Daddy and Granddaddy is in heaven looking down going, my son is playing at a white venue that I never thought in a million years that I would ever see. But how good it is, how sweet it is, huh?
Today, the Cajun and Zydeco crowd overlap like never before. The music has found new audiences with new sensibilities.
So you got the doo-doo-pop, doo-doo-pop, ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. It feels like a train moving, and that's why.
Like virtually all the musicians we interviewed, Little Nate Williams has seen a surge in popularity. Last year, his streaming audience jumped by, get this, more than 3,000%. How do you describe your style of Zydeco? It's not traditional, is it?
Very much not traditional, man. It's a fusion. That's how I think of it. Keyboards, synthesizers, a lot of R&B, a lot of R&B.
Nate learned to play from his father, also a renowned Zydeco musician. And he's found pushing musical boundaries is not always frictionless. What's Dad say about this?
My dad has always been encouraging. But I could see his face sometimes, you know. We'll sit down in the studio, he'll look at me and listening to my stuff. Can we put some more accordion in there? Can we put some more French in there? Can we put this in there? But at the end of the day, you know, we come to some compromising, understanding that this is you, this is me.
And the music has struck a chord beyond Louisiana. Jordan's band tours across the country and internationally. We met Jordan, Joel, and Wilson after they'd played a packed show in the Red Hook neighborhood of Brooklyn, of all places. The band, like us, ponders what precisely is fueling this interest outside Louisiana. They don't speak French. They're not getting the lyrics. What are they connecting to?
I wonder that all the time.
I really just believe it's the emotion. If we playing and I'm happy, you can see and feel that good time, you're gonna feel that good time. Same thing, if the song's horribly sad, maybe it makes you feel a little sadness inside of you, and you connect on that emotional level.
Emotional connection to a sound that, like the accordion itself, can contract and expand. Old melodies in a new era.
True music, it's emotive. You're gonna feel it, and that's sure. Everybody wants to feel something.
The world's population may have recently exceeded 8 billion, but it's a deceptive number. Not only is growth unevenly distributed, but in so many countries, population is in decline. In some cases, steep, deep decline. Maybe most graphically and demographically, there's Japan, a country that, since hitting a high of 128 million citizens in 2008, has lost population for 15 years running and is on pace to shrink by half by this century's end, despite government measures to halt the decline. This has huge impacts on the economy, the healthcare system, education, housing, national defense, immigration, the culture at large. Governments can control interest rates and inflation rates. Stimulating birth rates is far harder. We reported in April from the land of the rising sun, now also the land of declining sons and daughters. Ichinono, Japan sits regally, wedged between mountains an hour and a half west of Kyoto. Its listed population just shy of 50. But if it seems like more, it's for good reason. The village comes embroidered with 40 lifelike puppets. In the middle of town, on a playground, pedaling off toward the woods.
It's lonely here. Back in my day, the village was full of kids.
Shinichi Moriyama is the town puppet master, overseeing the making and then scattering of dolls throughout Ichinono, populating a depopulating village. You say it's lonely here. Are the puppets a way to make things a little less lonely?
Puppets are no substitute for people, of course, but making them cheers us up.
This is as good a snapshot as any of Japan's demographic crisis. There are hundreds of communities here fading like Ichinono. Do you think there might come a day when the puppet population exceeds the human population?
So, if things keep going the way they are right now, of course our population will decrease. Maybe it'll go down to 40, or maybe 30. But at the same time, my ability to continue making puppets is finite. So yes, I am deeply worried about the future of our village.
Modern Japan sounds like a sci-fi premise. The incredible shrinking country. Go-Go Tokyo is the world's largest city, and Japan has one of the world's longest national life expectancies, 85 years. But it's also losing population at a staggering rate. Last year, more than 2 people died for every new baby born, a net loss of almost 1 million. Today, Japanese buy more adult diapers than buy baby diapers. Is there a more urgent issue in Japan right now than this demographic crisis?
There are climate change, government deficit, but if there's no people living in Japan,
it's all relevant. Mm-hmm. Climate change and government deficits and the military if you don't have people living here.
That's right. The central door is only for the emperor when he...
A longtime high-ranking minister in Japan's parliament, Taro Kono, was nearly elected prime minister in 2021 and says he intends to seek the highest office again. What does Japan look like if it continues to shrink like this?
There are less and less number of young generation, and all the burdens are on the young generation, and they won't be able to sustain. So society is going to be breaking up. Economy is going to stagnate. Even for self-defense force, last year, we recruited only half of what we need.
The Japanese military.
Mm-hmm. You feel it.
Declining population is hardly unique to Japan. Name a country outside Africa, and odds are good it's losing people, or about to. In the U.S., the fertility rate is at an all-time low. Donald Trump has declared the collapse of fertility a crucial threat to the West. Kono wishes his country had been better prepared.
Every sector, even in the government, there's a labor shortage. And we really need to invest in technology to replace the human being. But we are still slow to do that. The alternative is to open up the country to foreign immigrants. But there's some psychological barrier to open up the country.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, the Japanese have been very homogeneous. Many Japanese don't know how to deal with non-Japanese living in the society.
Japan is also the world's 4th largest economy. Can it continue to be a power like that if the population keeps declining?
Nope.
In part, Japan's declining demographics owes to a spike in the success of women in the workforce. And in Japan, a famously punishing work culture, coupled with a men-first social culture, makes it all the more difficult to balance career and family. Still more so amid a persistently stagnant economy.
Up through the 1980s, the bubble years, Japan had omiai. They had arranged marriage. You know, the corporate guys would marry the office ladies, and this was all set up. It's gone now. And the office ladies make more money than the corporate guys. So now you have this shift in economics that has not been reflected in social norms.
Roland Keltz is a Japanese-American writer. He's married, but he's well aware that he's the exception. In 2023, fewer than 500,000 Japanese couples married, the lowest number since 1917.
I'm not sure other societies in the world have an implosion of marriage.
Well, Japan's, I think, ahead of the game. Japan's where we're all headed.
You think this is a harbinger?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's a canary in a coal mine.
It doesn't help Japan's marriage rates, and therefore birth rates, that a growing number of businesses now cater to the rise of parties of one.
I mean, you and I are not supposed to talk to each other over this thing.
We met Keltz at a ramen joint designed specifically for dining in solitude. There's single karaoke. We visited a bar open only to those arriving stag.
Arigato.
There are solo weddings, replete with professional photo shoots. But that's not all. Lately, alternative romance is highly in vogue. Just as robots today are helping ease some of the national labor shortages, inanimate objects are also making their way into the bedroom. We met Akihiko Kondo, who told us he sleeps alongside the anime character Miku, whom he married in a formal ceremony in 2018. He's one of thousands of Japanese who unashamedly say they are in a monogamous romantic relationship with a fictional character. Staggeringly, or maybe not, almost half of the country's millennial singles, ages 18 to 34, self-report as virgins, compared to barely 20% in the U.S. And of course, less human copulation means less human population.
AI relationships, they're going to get better and better and better, and they're going to supersede, in some ways, real physical relationships.
To foster human relationships, the Tokyo government has taken action. Yuriko Koike is the city's governor.
We are promoting for matchmaking by artificial intelligence.
Tokyo government is playing omiye, playing matchmaker.
That's right.
Yes, the Japanese capital city has launched its own dating app.
Is it working?
Yes, it's working, and number of application is more than we expected, 3 or 4 times.
Tokyo has introduced a 4-day work week for government employees, designed to help working mothers and hopefully boost birth rates.
When the bubble economy was boosting, there was a commercial advertisement, work 24 hours. But the longer we work, the less children we have. So demography is one of the biggest national issue that we have to tackle.
The Japanese government has rolled out a number of programs to address this declining birth rate. Are any of them working?
The total fertility rate for 2024 was reported to hit an all-time low. The continuing slide in the birth rate clearly indicates our current policy isn't working at all.
Until last year, Hanako Okada, now 45, was a lawyer in Tokyo and primary caregiver for her 2 children. Overworked and underfulfilled, she ran for parliament on a platform of trying to alter the culture for women, even breaking down in tears on the campaign trail, describing her stress.
I remembered how tough it was to raise my child, and I burst into tears. It was overwhelming. And viewers probably thought, I'm a politician who gets what ordinary people have to deal with.
It was effective. She won unexpectedly. and Hana-san, as she's called, is now something of a political change agent. She says confronting the population problem requires not dating apps and shortened work weeks, but a sweeping mindset change. In particular, a rethinking of living in urban areas, as 92% of Japanese currently do. She practiced what she preaches, moving back to her rural hometown of Aomori, a northern prefecture known for its apple orchards, but one that is rapidly aging, rapidly losing people. Built for 600 students, this Aomori Middle School is now only one-third filled. They still learn the traditional shamisen, but there are too few kids to field a soccer team, and a competitive snowball fight means recruiting a visiting ringer.
Oh, nice!
Why'd you return?
Aomori's my hometown. The precipitous drop in population and vitality of this city is deeply troubling, not just personally, but from a national perspective. If our regions collapse, it imperils our country's strength. I thought we can't allow the situation to go on.
You've seen the math, I'm sure. Do you believe Japan can overcome this population crisis?
We need to stop the overconcentration of people in Tokyo. In the rural areas, we need interesting jobs with decent pay that allow young people to support themselves.
Her thinking, once there are more jobs in rural areas, the younger people will come. Once they come and experience the space, the slower rhythms, the quality of life, they'll be motivated to start families.
The values of our younger generation are gradually shifting. Tokyo is no longer the be-all, end-all.
One such Japanese family that agrees, the Katos. They recently exchanged city life for this spacious house in Ichinono, land of puppets. Their son Koronosuke was the first baby born in the village in more than 20 years.
We've got a mountain and a river to explore. We make our own toys and grow our own vegetables. For a kid, there's plenty of ways to have fun here.
You're happy here?
Yes, I truly enjoy this lifestyle.
The Katos hope others will follow, that Koronosuke will have friends and classmates among all the town's dolls.
It takes us back to our roots. I want Japanese people to become more aware of this lifestyle, which is closer to our traditional way of living.
It might be a traditional Japanese lifestyle, but amid a population decline, it will be in a smaller, lonelier, and fundamentally different Japan.